I like the fact that you mentioned that you had to stabilize that punky wood because that's a problem a lot of folks have. I know I had
I
when I first
oh
started not stabilizing it, and that the whole thing just blow up on me.
when
So,
I order my Parfix from Mark Soleil, I tell him to send me the big bottles because
Yep. Yep.
it's if you look, if you don't, I do have a vacuum chamber and I do have cactus juice, and I could have, this is a lot of wood to put into cactus juice and stabilize.
There it is.
So an alternative
And it
is
costs a lot more.
it costs a lot more. So start hollowing it, start turning it. And when you get to the point where you've got the thickness of the lid or you've got the thickness of the bottom, just it's cheaper to drench it in CA glue and let
mhm.
that thin CA glue and let that soak through, and that stabilizes it. It's a lot less expensive than to try to stabilize the whole log in cactus juice in your vacuum chamber. That
Right.
is a lot of cactus juice, and then you have to put it in the oven and dry and heat it and cook it. You can do the same thing with CA glue, and this is not. I can
Yeah.
put water in here and it's not going to leak.
Right.
You
And
know,
then you have to keep in mind not all CAs are created equal. And there's a lot of us that stand by and we harp and we talk about the use of Parfix 3408. And the
mm-hmm.
reason why is, aside from the long 40 to 55-second long open time, but you're able to stabilize a piece of wood and with a drenching of the CA, and you don't have to worry about the dreaded white bloom because of the
Yep.
thermal heat transfer of that CA just
Yep.
immediately curing up on itself before it even has time to even soak into the wood. You will not
And
experience that
yeah,
3408. And
yeah,
then the other thing
absolutely.
is a lot of people are sensitive to the fumes that come off of CA. With the Parfix 3408, there are no fumes to it. There is no white smoke and there is no white
Yep. Yep.
bloom with
Absolutely.
the fast curing of it. And
Absolutely.
you're able to drench it into your punky wood and allow it to soak in and cure up on its own, and it's almost like plastic by the time it's done. So, and you don't lose
Stanley
the wood feel.
Stanley
Yeah.
Langford is
Question.
asking, where can you order Parfix 3408? There are a number of turners in our club who do sell it, but I found out recently that you actually can order it on Amazon now too. Amazon does carry it. So it's up to you whether or not you want to support a fellow wood turner. There are multiples of us who do it, but it is available on Amazon now as well. And I will say
And
this, and I use
it's
Parfix
cheaper.
when expense is not an issue. I use Parfix. When I need CA, but I don't necessarily need the Cadillac, personally, I prefer Starbond. That's number two on my list of quality. I've tried um, several other brands. Thickset, I think, is one. I've tried Gorilla Glue CA, and those outgas so heavily that it's miserable. It's just horrible. But Starbond still outgasses and still blooms, but not nearly as bad as some of the other brands. But Parfix, far and away, it's surgical grade CA glue, and it doesn't outgas. It doesn't do the bloom. It doesn't do all of that. It's superior.
JJ, you were
Yes.
talking about the cactus juice. I realized real quick that doing the whole log in cactus juice was expensive. So I started turning to where I only lacked that maybe one more cut
Mm-hmm.
on the inside and the out. I would hollow it completely, but it still needed because you'd have all the tear out and all, and leave
Yeah.
enough to cut that out. And then I put it in the vacuum chamber with cactus juice. And it
Absolutely.
doesn't take up near as much cactus juice and let
Yes.
it drain out good. And then
Absolutely. And
throw it in the oven and cook it out.
yeah, another option too, by the way, if you're just working on a very small area of punky wood and you just need to stiffen the grain enough because you've got a really sharp tool and you just got to shave a little tiny bit, something to
Yep.
think about. You can soak that with mineral oil. Give it about 2 minutes to drink it up and then cut it. And that mineral oil will stiffen the grains just enough that you can cut it clean without tear out and then go on and sand and finish. So
Oh, never tried that.
depending on the degree of punkiness, the lid, this inside section right here, this actually the top was not done with Parfix. This was done with mineral oil. So I used mineral oil to toughen up these grains just so that I could get across the top, get it clean enough that I could then begin to sand it and then seal it with finish. So mineral oil is also an inexpensive option. However, down in the bottom, and sorry, it's full. It's being used, but down in the bottom, right down in the bottom where you're at depth and you don't necessarily have the degree of tool control on the inside at that depth that's 5 inches deep as you do right here where there's no depth. Parfix using CA glue is a better option because guaranteed that's going to make it solid. That's going to stiffen everything up and you're going to be able to get a clean cut and a clean scrape. Out here where you have the space, you can use mineral oil and tool sharpness and technique and get that same cut without having to use glue. So that's another option, but where are you going to use that option? Because you don't have the same amount of tool control inside 5 inches deep as you do right here on the surface.
JJ,
question.
Yeah.
Another inexpensive option for stiffening soft wood is diluted de-wax shellac.
Oh, yes.
I dilute my bullseye sanding sealer, which is de-waxed. I dilute it 50-50 with alcohol, and I will use that.
That's
and
where
it
I was going.
It stiffens up the grain beautifully.
You can use your this is Captain Eddie's Club, and I'm blocking on the name of it.
Shine juice.
Your shine juice. You could use OB shine juice to stiffen end grain. Absolutely, it works the same way. OB shine juice does the same thing.
Everybody
Back
have
to
fun.
reality.
All right, very
Johnson
good.
Dewey Johnson says Amazon sells Parfix in 3408 and 2 ounces only, and I think I get it. 8-ounce bottle or
I get 8-ounce bottles. So I put it in the thing. It's basically $45 shipped by either Mark Soleil or Kurt Cap. For 8 ounces, and it's sent priority mail.
I just did an Amazon search for Parfix 3408 and I could not find it. They have several other different Parfix products, but not the 3408 on Amazon. I know it was there at one time because I saw it there myself too. So last time
I've seen it there too, and for a 2-ounce bottle it's like $22, $24, which is just absurd for a price. So
honestly, you're better off.
You can't.
And Brenda says, don't forget to buy the activator. You buy the Parfix activator. I can't remember the numbers, but water will activate CA glue. Misted water will activate CA glue. Worst case scenario.